Buckeyes took care of business on the road against Illinois this weekend. We covered all of it in our instant reaction and overreaction videos. If you want to go back and check those out right now, Billy BB, excited to be back with you on the Ohio State Football Report, reacting to everything else that happened this past weekend in college football, specifically the Big Ten in pure chaos from these three games over the weekend. Penn State down again, of course, firing James Franklin, losing Drew Aller. Indiana rising all the way to the top, up there with Ohio State in the Big Ten right now. They beat Oregon, and USC takes down Michigan and makes them unranked. Love to see that. I think there's so much going on with this, and it is game-changing for Ohio State. Everything that happened, not in their game, but in those games, it is game-changing. So, whether it be Franklin getting fired, Michigan losing, or Oregon going down to Indiana, or Indiana thinking they're a top dog once again, if you enjoyed the chaos of college football and the Big Ten specifically, go ahead and give the video a like. I can just say, hey, maybe that thumbs up is just to celebrate a Michigan loss, Penn State and Franklin out, all that. So go ahead and give the video a thumbs up if you loved all that this past weekend. Speaking of Franklin, we're jumping right into it. Maybe you look at this from such like an outsider's view that you just don't really care what Penn State's going through or how it's affecting, what's going to happen coming up. But it is something to pay attention to for Ohio State. Franklin fired by Penn State, 12 seasons, won 104 games. Definitely seemed like it was going to be a huge, huge game between the Buckeyes and Penn State this year. That seems to have changed. I think his exit from Penn State is a game changer for Ohio State. It is a big, big deal and will absolutely affect the Buckeyes now, as soon as 3 weeks, and in the future, talking about recruiting, talking about games, talking about the Big Ten. A lot coming up with Franklin's firing. Things are about to change quickly, and it will affect the Buckeyes. So, rolling through that ripple effect. He is fired. Throw that stone in the water. Watch it ripple. A lot's coming. A lot's going to happen. First, obviously, it starts with Penn State. It's a chaotic scene. The dream season, the big season, the must-win season, gone 3 weeks later. The Nittany Lions were leading Oregon in a top 10 matchup in overtime. 3 weeks later, head coach fired, season cooked, and starting quarterback out for the year. It is unbelievable. Personally, as we take a look at the financial breakdown of James Franklin, I'm still shook he got fired. I think the timing's terrible. I think, again, you were in a good spot 3 weeks ago. Obviously what happened, but could have easily swung the other way. Just so surprising. And then, of course, the financial commitment here. Not only are you paying Franklin $50 million to go away, you got to pay the next guy, and all that money's gone from NIL, stadium upgrades, whatever else the program was going to use that money on. For Penn State, this will set them back years. 10 years, probably not. 5, maybe that's even too much. This is setting them back. Paying Franklin to be gone, trying to find the next guy. Next guy comes in. He's got to, I don't want to say rebuild, I guess. You got to retool. You got to bring in your guys, get them acclimated with the new guys. You got to make sure you set back up with recruiting. You're losing guys. I mean, this will set them back years. This isn't Kalen DeBoer taking over Alabama, where there's a lot of talent there, tradition there, and they're still, in a way, peak of their powers or a very powerful program. Penn State's down bad, and they're going to replace them with, the options, which we'll go through in this video. I just don't think are up there. For the Buckeyes, a key competitor, a team you were looking at for the next few years to be very competitive. Specifically this year, that game looked huge. Gone. Done. Cooked. I think that's a 2 or 3 year retool, figuring things out for Penn State. It's a gigantic financial commitment, pure chaos in Happy Valley. All right, are you glad James Franklin was fired? Maybe you're an Ohio State fan. He was successful, not necessarily against the Buckeyes, only beat them once. But in general, what do you think about James Franklin getting fired there? Were you happy to see it? Are you happy Penn State's in chaos right now? Type Y for yes, N for no. The next ripple effect, of course, from Franklin getting fired Got to pick the bones. Got to get after it. Got to find a way to maximize the opportunity here. Franklin's out, and they were seeing this before, but I mean, now we're getting an outpouring of decommitments from Penn State / multiple players. Obviously, you have to consider will transfer from the Nittany Lions, and the Buckeyes have to take an opportunity here. The big name, the number one, and this was actually before Franklin got fired. So, it's, again, just an opportunity here to go after Kemon Spell, the number one running back in the class of 2027. This is what we're talking about, folks. Franklin's out. Penn State's down bad. Take advantage of the situation. Not just the firing, but how bad Penn State has looked over the past few years, that reputation that's now going to change. Go get a great running back like this. Take advantage of the situation. You're going to see plenty of other decommitments. We've already seen an offensive tackle, wide receiver. The Buckeyes linked to Spell, been named a team to watch going after him. Then you look at transfers. I got a name specifically I want the Buckeyes to go after as an example, but again, it could be any of their players that you may think would be a good fit. Chaz Coleman from Warren. Went to Warren High School. I actually broadcasted him in basketball. It's terrific. Terrific basketball player to go along with football. It's been pretty good in his first year at Penn State. I would love for the Buckeyes to get out there, get him to transfer back to Ohio State. Take advantage of the situation. I think this is going to be a big ripple effect of Franklin being gone, recruiting, and transfers. Lastly, got to consider the coaching carousel that is about to begin. It's going to get wild, not only for Penn State. I think this is going to completely rearrange some spots in the Big Ten. It's going to affect the Big Ten. So our guy Chase Sr., with our Eagles channel and our Niners channel, he had some options to replace James Franklin, so I'll look through those. Curt Cignetti's the hot name, of course, at Indiana. It's just considered they could overpay, get Cignetti to come to the historically bigger program and make his mark there. That's a Big Ten school. Matt Rule, has that tie to Penn State and the state of Pennsylvania, so people like him to get over there. Pat Fitzgerald from Northwestern. Look, this would be a Big Ten shakeup. And Lynn from USC, not necessarily the head coach, but again, that affects the Big Ten, changes up the Big Ten. And Buckeye fans, Chase Sr. thinks Urban Meyer, and not just Chase Sr., I've seen some rumored Urban Meyer returns to college football. Crazy. Really, really crazy here with the options to replace Franklin. Our guy Joey Peterson with our college football channel, also with our Tennessee channel, he threw some similar options out there. You see Cignetti again. You see Rule again. This could shake up the Big Ten, because even if you don't get a necessarily Big Ten coaches change, you may get a change in general to Penn State, shaking it up. James Franklin can't beat Ohio State. I don't know, maybe Manny Diaz all of a sudden can. That would be a huge, huge change. And again, that's a ripple effect of Franklin being gone. Got a note to you guys here. This episode brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. My favorite part about Prize Picks, simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. And right now in those projections, you can make it a stack or stacks. That means you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. So if you wanted to go Josh Allen, pass yards, rush yards, touchdowns, now you can pick all of them in the same lineup only on Prize Picks. Ready for Monday Night Football tonight? More on Bijan Robinson, like what he's got going there. 15.5 rush attempts going more. Keon Coleman has not been his year. I'm going to go less on the 39.5 receiving yards. Split game. Caleb Williams starting to heat up a little bit. But I still think, that prime time's not necessarily always his friend. I'll go more on the half interception. And Krosky Merritt for Washington, who's been a really interesting story this year. More on the rushing or receiving touchdowns. You guys know I love that. This one's cool. You got to pay attention. Follow other Prize Picks players directly on the app and copy their lineups in one click. Could be a friend. Could be Marshawn Lynch. You want to take his picks. You do it there on Prize Picks. You hit the follow button and check out other people's lineups create in the new feed tab. Download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Indiana's giant win against Oregon proved a lot for them nationally. To me personally, obviously it proved they're number 2 in the Big Ten. They are the greatest competitor to Ohio State. After that win against Oregon, the top 25 poll for just the first time in school history for 2 years in a row, Indiana makes that top 10. They make it to 3, all the way up to 3. I was kind of waiting with all the recent changes, with all the recent losses for Indiana and Oregon to kind of tell me a little more, figure out who's number 2 in the Big Ten. Indiana, obviously 3 in the country, number 2 in the Big Ten. Giant win. Curt Cignetti has had the same attitude for a year and a half here. And looking at Indiana going forward, I think they're just set up to play Ohio State in the Big Ten title. Look at this, unranked across the board. I think UCLA is hot, but I don't think that'll last against a good Indiana team. Everyone else, Wisconsin, killer. Penn State, killer. Purdue, improved, but not good enough. I mean, I think their greatest threat in that schedule is Maryland, and that's not necessarily a big threat. So, as I said, Big Ten title game, I think it's going to be the Buckeyes and the Hoosiers. I think that's what we're set for. That's what Indiana's schedule has them set for. And in fairness to them, Fernando Mendoza and company, they've been good. They played really, really well. Cignetti's figured out a way to make this not just a one-year wonder, but possibly taking this program into the future. He's got a giant extension to go with it. What I will say, though, bring it on. Bring it on. I wasn't impressed when the Buckeyes played them last year. I won't be impressed, I think, when the Buckeyes play them this year. I think Indiana is exactly who they are. A basketball school, historically, struggling lately, that's having a little bit of a run in football. I think it's very interesting that Curt Cignetti has not been humbled what happened against Ohio State last year. And he's running around town having a good time until you meet the Buckeyes in Indianapolis. I think Ohio State's going to be very motivated to win that game, get the Big Ten title back, bring on the Hoosiers for the Big Ten title. With that being said, how do you guys feel about Indiana? Your concern level if the Buckeyes met the Hoosiers in the Big Ten title game, scale it for me 1 to 10. Now, the other loser from Saturday, Michigan. Michigan. I don't know if I enjoyed the game itself more or the reaction. Nah, I enjoyed the reaction. Fans freaking out, losing it. Fire this person, bench that person, hire this person. It was out of control after USC took down Michigan, made them unranked on Saturday. And probably the best part for me personally, and the most interesting part too, the coaching discourse. They're done with Sherrone Moore. They're done. Halfway through the regular season this year, he's had to sit out 2 games. Michigan fans are done. Done with him. And maybe what's better is like the options. Get Curt Cignetti to Michigan. They want Minter back from the NFL. Has a show cause order, would have to sit out. Connor Stallions is pining for the job. He wants the job. He couldn't even coach high school well. I think the discourse is hilarious around the coaching situation. A guy taking bullets for the program right now is getting trashed and taking all the blame for the development of their multi-million-dollar quarterback, who, I would like to add, is running out of time before the blame shifts to him. Right? If Michigan does fire Sherrone Moore, if they move on to someone else, pressure will really turn to Bryce Underwood, wearing millions of dollars worth of grills in his mouth on Saturday night in prime time, laughing on the sideline as Michigan trails 31-13. Still solid numbers, still a lot of mistakes, still some highlights. I'm not really this or that on Bryce Underwood yet. What I will say, though, after Moore's done, after Michigan fans have turned to wanting to make changes, it will soon turn to Bryce Underwood. People will begin to question, well, we're paying Bryce Underwood this much money, and he's doing blank. And if it's not winning, showing up, making plays, and consistently doing it for Michigan, I think Underwood is kind of next to be under that microscope for both Michigan fans and college football experts. We will have that for you. We'll talk Michigan. We'll talk Ohio State Big Ten title. We'll have our watch parties per usual, so be sure to subscribe to the Ohio State Football Report.